Central Coast Mariners. Great to see City and Mariners fans making their way into what's been a soggy evening in Melbourne. The Isuzu UTE tunnel cam. Words exchanged between captains for the evening. Andrew Redmayne and Aziz Behich. And what's been a short turnaround, both teams having played just 3 days ago. But the importance of the match cannot be overlooked. A win, 3 points, would all but propel the winning team into the top 6, doing no harm toward their finals run. Win probability has City in favour, and by a fair way as well. Recent history suggests as much. Let's have a look at how the teams are shaping up tonight. Tight turnaround sees 3 changes for Aurelia Vidmer's team. 2 of those forced, with Ryan Teague injured and Marcus Eunice suspended from the red card on Saturday. Samuel Suprayan dropping to the bench. Into defence comes Harrison Delbridge for his 3rd appearance. Zane Schreiber slots into the midfield, and Kavian Ramani is up front for City tonight. As for Central Coast, well, Warren Moon also shuffles the pack, makes 5 changes to his starting 11. Nathan Paul and Jacob Nasso are into the back line. Harry Steele comes into the midfield, replacing the missing Hayne Eames, and Arthur De Lima and Nathaniel Blair with just their 3rd and 2nd starts, respectively. Tonight, just a 6th start for 27-year-old Daniel Arzani. A small knee operation back in January following his return to the club, which at the time was about returning to form, finding minutes to state a case to Socceroos boss Tony Popovic. Important minutes for Arzani this evening back at home. Well, likewise, Arthur De Lima making just his 3rd start for the campaign. A creative outlet for the Mariners in what will feel like important minutes for the 18-year-old tonight. Handshakes and hugs. Warren Moon, who's kind of fairly relaxed figure in recent games. He acknowledged the pressure is really on the other teams. The Mariners doing all they can to remain involved in finals football for this season. Aurelia Vidmer at the other end. Well, last year's champions making their way back up towards the pointy end of the ladder. Daniel Elder tonight, the centre referee, looking after his 127th A-League match. VAR, should they be needed tonight. Kearney Robinson, assisted by Emma Kotzbeck. Tight turnarounds. Not much time in the way of recovery for either team. Hence the changes we've seen from both coaches tonight. And there's the host of injuries. Teague, Beach, Eunice suspended. That red card on Saturday night. Mahane and others in the stands. What a debut it was for James Muenhausen on Saturday against the Wanderers. Another big night tonight for him. So all underway at Amy Park in Melbourne for this round 17 fixture between Melbourne City and the Central Coast Mariners. An important game, an important fixture in the context of the season. A win tonight can go a long way to shaping up this top 6. And Daniel McBreen, both sides acutely aware of what tonight's result means.
Well, good evening, Grace, and all our viewers. Yeah, 100%. This is a massive game for both of these. It's been on the diary marked for quite a while. An extra game. And there'll be a few teams watching tonight to see the outcome. And I'm sure the other teams would think a draw would be nice for them, but 3 points essential. leading into the final 3 matches of the season.
How quickly it comes around. And now a chance on the break for the Mariners. Steered away, slippery conditions tonight. Dealt with in the end. Shani can steer things away and driving through the middle for City on a quick break. That pass a little narrow. Nothing doing from referee Daniel Elder. Waves that one away pretty comfortably. 5 changes to this Mariners team tonight, the most that Warren Moon has made across the course of the season so far. Speaks to the need to refresh the team after a game just 72 hours ago.
And a match on Friday as well, so 3 matches in 6 days. And they've dropped a few points in the last 3 matches. Melbourne City, on the other hand, beaten in their last 3. 7 points. And a convincing win last time out against Western Sydney would give them a little bit of confidence. It hasn't been a real confident team in front of goal this season either. They'll be looking to hit their form right at the pointy end of the season, and they are a team that I'm sure many will say that if they manage to get into the finals, they will be a team that other squads will look at and think, "Ooh, this could be a tough opposition to come up against."
There's Moragas, happy just to steer that back from where it came. Fairly open couple of minutes. It has been raining in Melbourne across the afternoon, leading to a fairly slick surface. Cool conditions, 16 degrees Celsius, so lovely for football. And that's a poor pass, poor giveaway, early look, and again on a slippery surface. Arthur De Lima will try his luck.
Well, I don't mind that. Saw the keeper off his line, thought, well, let's try and go for the early strike. I just like to ask these keepers who like to sweep high, ask the question, were you willing to stay there if we do try for those strikes?
City just struggling somewhat to clear their lines out of the back. Good pressure, early pressure shown from the Mariners. Brandman in a tussle. Blair tonight with a rare start for Central Coast too. A little slip. These conditions already proving a little difficult for both teams.
Something we see regularly at Amy Park. The surface is a little slippy. Players tend to take a little while to get their footing and adjust.
Heavily handled at the back. Harrison Delbridge. What a moment it was for James Neuenhausen in goal. His league debut on Saturday against Western Sydney Wanderers. Patrick Beach, of course, returning from Socceroos camp with a bit of a quad strain. In the stands again tonight. Neuenhausen, the 22-year-old. Sometimes it's a matter of biding your time. There's Patrick Beach.
You can wait a long time as a keeper to get that opportunity. You have to make the most of it. Certainly was up for it last week.
Early look forward. Neuenhausen well out of his box to clear. Three saves he had to make against Western Sydney Wanderers, but otherwise hugely tested. Convincing result it was for Melbourne City. 3 goals, clean sheet.
Well, I guess the only blotch on it was the red card for Marcus Eunice. I personally thought he was a little unlucky with the second yellow. Maybe a warning could have sufficed if there was any malice or intent at all. Red card it is, and he'll miss tonight. He has been one of their best, if not the best, for Melbourne City since his arrival in January. He's added a real positive flair to their team.
3 goals, 3 assists. Dangerous attacking player. in the stands tonight, so Eunice will miss this evening. Available for the next fixture for Melbourne City.
That one won't be an easy one either. Hamilton Phoenix, their caretaker manager Chris Greenacre, drawing 3 wins, not doing himself any harm in the way that he's got the Knicks playing.
Yeah, really wonderful to see the success of Chris Greenacre. As his age, looking a little sore after that challenge, not one that really Vidmar can afford to lose. Schreiber, square to Atkinson. Now Arzani just to hug the touchline. A little clip through to Atkinson. Lovely shape on the delivery. The ball as well. Dangerous area. In the end, Brad Tapp's done enough to steer that one away. Ferreira across. Good body shown against Brandman.
Well, the run was good from Atkinson, but the ball was delightful from Daniel Arzani, just using the outside of the foot to curl it into the path of Nathaniel Atkinson.
So the win for City 3 days ago, a draw for the Mariners. Come from behind draw, and that's a poor giveaway too in the middle. Brandman has a bit of space and a decision to make. Threads the ball wide. Mariners lining up numbers just inside the 18-yard box. Nathan Paul wide through Moragas. A little touch away from Arzani, who's done well. Combines with Kuit. Now Arzani. Space in front. Touch from Moragas, who recovers well, and Redmayne keeps that one in. A really open start here, quite transitional play, just touches evading either team, perhaps conditions, as both sides just get used to the surface. Andreas Kuhn through Atkinson. Kuhn again, and Arzani. Hassled by Brandman. Kuhn drives inside. That's about the shot. Slows just a little, blocked well by Paul. Ferreira back into a dangerous area. Helbon is clever over the top. Can't quite fashion the cutback for the onrushing Max Caputo.
It was a neat run, wasn't it? Just skips away from him on this wet surface again. Andrew Redmayne, quickest to react, gather the ball.
Towering header from Ferreira. Eventually the touch falls, and that's kind to Arthur De Lima if he can get the shot away. Good save from Neuenhausen. From one end to the other it goes. Both teams just failing to really cleanly deal with possession in transition moments. Big moment for Neuenhausen. City can settle. Nice turn inside. We'll find Schreiber, hurried again by De Lima, who's playing that role well, just hustling. Mariners take stock. Here's Paul. Driven pass over the top. Again, Neuenhausen smart off his line.
Here's another look at that save. It was a deflected ball. And you see, again, we talk about the slippery surface. Harrison Delbridge there, just trying to really adjust his run. Really had to take the long turn around. He couldn't just stamp the feet and change direction. And that allowed De Lima in. Neuenhausen out smartly to save, and he's been doing well sweeping as well, which he's going to have to because Nathaniel Blair is extremely quick, and he'll look to try and get in behind that Melbourne City back four. So he needs to be alert, sweeping to cover the danger of Blair.
2 goals for the season, Nathaniel Blair. A rare start tonight. The opening 10 or so minutes have been a fairly open passage. Either side really able to consolidate control of the game. Bench seems to have recovered from that earlier knock. Arzani now. Atkinson happy to put his foot on the ball. Central Coast Mariners just wait for their moment. Regains possession again. Inside and out. City with a start, a little nervous one, and Redmayne harries that away.
Well, I'm not too sure that was meant to be a strike. I'm sure it was a cross, but Andrew Redmayne had to deal with it. There's another look. There's his page. He so well gets forward and see, looking to pick Daniel Arzani out at the back post there.
Brandon's clearance only as far as City's defence and back again. Arzani surrounded. Central Coast clearing their lines. They can't quite find the target man up front. It's Ferreira. Atkinson again. The idea. Nice stretching pass. Intercepted comfortably. Good header by Delbridge. Ball over the top. Has Blair's name on it. Doesn't quite have the legs.
Well, it's been a bit scrappy, hasn't it? It's a turnover. A few hurried clearances. The team really settled into this match, almost 15 minutes in now. We've yet to see either team keep possession, knock it around, and there we are, another sloppy turnover, this time deep in their own half.
Passing accuracy tells you all you need to know. 65% to City, 58 to Mariners. It's the story of this opening 14 minutes or so. The last time these two sides met was in November last year at Polytech Stadium, 0-0 that day. Mind you, it's City who have had the edge over the Mariners in recent fixtures, as Harry Steele's brought to ground. Rather, Bailey Brantman.
Nice turn from Brantman. There's not generally lots of goals between these two. They're generally tight affairs.
So Brantman wins the foul, standing over the free kick. Square ball, and now a little clip into the 18-yard box. Nodded down, and the first time strike is blocked really well. Jacob Nasso in an advanced position for that one. The 19-year-old, just his second start tonight in what is his 8th appearance. Those 5 changes made by Warren Moon, just starting to dig a little further into the depth of the squad.
And what we've seen from Nassau so far has been positive.
Midfield scrap. still not decided. Eventually swept through. Ferreira first to it. Atkinson again wide to Arzani, who loves to operate in these sorts of areas. Nice searching ball across. Redmayne knew exactly what was coming.
Well, I wonder if this is something that Melbourne City staff have pointed out as a weak link for the Mariners. That's the second time that Daniel Arzani has just put an early ball in. The last one was blocked, but that's his first thought. We know that he loves to run at plays. Isolated 1v1, you expect at times he's going to take players on. It hasn't been in his mind at all. It's touch out his feet and try to get it in the box early.
Bramman inside. Donald just trying to find a way through the Mariners. That won't be it through Arzani. Schreiber over Steele. And now Kuhn just slows things down. To go back almost 2 years to April 2024, the last time the Mariners beat Melbourne City. A little slip. Enough space, enough time for City to make amends, but just. Long ball over the top, fairly direct at the moment. Defensively, leaking goals last year was a real issue for the Central Coast Mariners. 51 goals conceded last campaign. Still a few games to go, of course, this season, but the Mariners are a lot tighter at the back, just the 34 for the season. And now some defending to do. Here's Andreas Kuhn. Has options in front and wide to Arzani, who also takes a fall. Back to his feet now. Lovely ball in from Arzani. Still alive for City. Eventually clipped away through Moragas. Big chance.
Well, it was wonderful improvisation from Daniel Arzani. Slipped, just see here, gets the body down, and then he's allowed the space, and that's a great ball in. Shani just dipping for the header, just couldn't quite get there. And then the rebound blocked. But those early crosses from the side of Daniel Arzani causing a couple of problems for that Mariners defence. They can't allow him to have the space. He's too good of a player.
Early crosses causing a few troubles. And maybe Aziz Bayic adding to that. Good defensive header, likewise that from Delbridge. Ashani again. Steele will just steer that away. Sustained pressure at the moment from City.
Well, the Mariners have made a habit of this season. Sit in, try to absorb pressure, and they have the highest conversion rate. Chances in the league by some margin. They're going to give up possession.
Numbers forward for City, if they can make the most of it. Well defended. And a little touch by Elbasan Rashani brings Brad Tapp to ground.
Well, it was a good opening miss, wasn't it? Isolated 1v1. Just there, you see, just with the step over, just had the missed touch, and that was enough for Brad Tapp to stick the foot in. Couple of chances on either side now with space for Melbourne City.
So 20 minutes have ticked over. Fairly open game it's continued to be. Just the one shot on target so far from the Mariners. Maybe City have something to say about that. For some more reinforcements to arrive. Andreas Kuhn, lovely touches by Kuhn, back onto his left. Does get the strike away as well. Blocked. You can see players really struggling to keep their feet. Now Caputo. Good hit, good save by Redmayne, still alive. eventually Chris Donald takes matters into his own hands. It's a long clearance. Ferreira has a bit of pressure through De Lima. He's working hard. Hohenhausen looks to settle things down.
Well, they're having to soak up some pressure, aren't they, the Mariners? The possession figure is ever increasing in the favour of Melbourne City.
It's a nice ball inside. Schreiber, Kuhn opened up nicely through the Mariners' defence. Here's Kuhn driving into space. A slip in the middle. Kuhn will have a free shot, and the deflection does find its way into the back of the net for the opening goal of the night. And it's Andreas Kuhn again who finds another for Melbourne City.
Well, he twisted and turned not too long ago in the box and was denied on that occasion from a block, but on full flight, they weren't going to stop him. On the Harvey Norman replay, we'll see it's nice play through midfield, so much space afforded, and now he drives forward. And there's the slip that opens up the opportunity. The deflection takes it away from Redmayne. You could hear the scream in anguish as he tried to get down, but that's good direct play from Andreas Kuhn. Gets a little deflection which helps him, but he won't care about that. Look, he assesses a situation in on his favoured left foot. And although he gets a hand to it, Andrew Redmayne, he can't quite get enough. Sent the wrong way, in off the post. And Melbourne City take a step towards those 3 points they so dearly need.
2 goals in as many games for the Austrian. Of course, got the opener against Western Sydney Wanderers as well. Well, the surface has been very apparent that both teams really struggling to keep their footing, and that just opened things up all too kindly for Andreas Kuhn. Maybe another to add to the tally. Numbers lining up. Arzani! Wow, what a lovely hit. And Redmayne positioned well. Well, quite a spectacular arrival from Daniel Arzani.
Well, he did very well, didn't he? It's a difficult task to get that on the half volley. Mariners opened up again. Not for the first time this season, Andrew Redmayne coming to the rescue.
That's a poor giveaway. Atkinson, City is starting to open things up a bit. Well, that's an important intervention. Masso across to block, otherwise numbers lining up for City. It just feels like the game is starting to swing in the favour of City. Goalless side, more control, more dominance.
Well, more shots and more balls into the box as well. And they looked in a confident mood against Western Sydney Wanderers last time out, and now they seem to be settling into their groove again here against the Mariners.
City in the driver's seat. Here's Atkinson. Nice find inside through Ramani. Now Schreiber has a little bit of space. Ramani again, too much time at the top of the box. Mariners a little reactive.
But they're just slow to shut down the City players, aren't they, as they're coming together there, Blair and Atkinson. The Mariners players just standoffish, but let's have a look at this. That is a tough technique to pull off. Daniel Arzani did well to get good contact with straight at Andrew Redmayne. They can't afford space, as we've said, right around the edge of the box too. Too much space for City players to move the ball, seize up the shot.
Cool. Arzani will hit this first time, and that does not miss by much. He's starting to find his flow.
Well, it feels at the moment like a training session where you have an overload and you're trying to defend 2 or 3 extra players. Melbourne City moving the ball at ease. Mariners all over the place.
Mariners will look for a quick break over the top, but Blair has 3 to beat. Composed, experienced defending from Bayich. Atkinson. Arzani, who's enjoying himself out on the right-hand side tonight. Nice little ball through, disguised to Atkinson. That's a good cross as well. Steele won't take any risks.
Well, they're working well together down that right-hand side, aren't they? Nathaniel Atkinson, Daniel Arzani. And one picks up the ball, the other one's making the forward movement, vice versa. A couple of quality passes in behind from Daniel Arzani to Nathaniel Atkinson in behind the Central Coast Mariners defence.
Atkinson again and Arzani. Schreiber, a little reverse pass, searching for Caputo.
Well, at the moment, it feels like more a case of when, not if, City are going to find another.
Plenty of action happening in the Central Coast's defensive area. 16 touches in the opposition's box for City, just to the 2 for the Mariners. Zane Schreiber in the middle tonight. Of course, Ryan Teague substituted off at half-time against Western Sydney Wanderers, so in comes Schreiber for his 10th start of the season. No word just yet on how serious or how long that is for Teague. Finding his feet at City since returning to the A-League. Ryan Teague as Schreiber upends Arthur De Lima in the middle of the park. Unfortunately for the Mariners, it's not happy reading when you see City, having gone ahead first, have not lost a single game when scoring first across the course of the season. Of the 9 times they've done so, they've gone on to win 6 of them, 3 draws, but they haven't lost when they get the first goal. Neat touches up onto that little slip once more from Arzani.
Well, I guess if you're a Mariners supporter or Warren Moon and his staff, you could probably take a little bit of solace in last week's performance. 2-0 down, and probably could have been 3 or 4 against Perth Glory. And it looked like it was heading even the worst direction. And they managed to come back in that game to 2-2. Showed some resilience. At the moment, it's all Melbourne City. They're looking confident, they're knocking the ball around, really keeping the Mariners pinned in their own half.
Bayich suggests surely in the plans of Tony Popovich as the runway to the Men's World Cup comes into view. Steele. Brandon helps on. De Lima is beaten to it by Delbridge. 30 minutes have ticked by. was a fairly opening 10 or 15 is now well and truly in control with the home team. Haven't had the best season at home this year, Melbourne City. 10 games, just 4 wins of those 10. So not all too convincing.
Well, they had that period, didn't they, where Asian Champions League elite had a break. I think they had about 6 out of their 7 games were at home. And we all thought, right, this is when Melbourne City are going to put the foot on the gas and they'll start charging up the table. It just didn't happen for them. They were flat, having trouble in front of goal. And I was starting to ask some questions about how they're going to get something out of this season when they were bundled out of the Asian Champions League elite, as Lazani looks to get in behind, but it just hasn't worked. But all of a sudden, here we are, 7 points in their last 3. Good opening 30 minutes here against the Mariners. And this is a team that many predicted would be right at the pointy end come towards the end of the season. Maybe they're hitting their straps at the right time.
Atkinson again to Arzani. A little jink, and he makes that look easy. Atkinson needs the cutback. There it is. First time touch and a crucial intervention. The follow-up shot is blocked. Player left down in the box, just in front of Andrew Redmayne. And Shani's back to his feet. He popped the full brunt of that challenge.
Well, you said Daniel Arzani makes it look easy. Well, it was. Nathaniel Blair offered almost no resistance in defence. He sold himself all ends up. And that's just easy pickings for Daniel Arzani, who combined again with Nathaniel Atkinson.
That's a good challenge by Blair. That pass needed to get away. Well by Rahmani. Schreiber just diffuses the situation. Again, Mariners just happy to sit almost in their own defensive half. Blair will pinch forward a little bit of distance, as will De Lima. Now comes the press. Neuenhausen has Ferreira. Arzani and through to Atkinson. It's well worked out of that first line of defence. Possession stolen back. Blair has support through Brantman, goes himself. That one always rising.
Here's that earlier play down the right-hand side. Arzani to Atkinson as the ball comes in. So that's what you need from your defender. Aggressive, body on the line. Rashani needed to take evasive action.
Neuenhausen's goal kick. A big up and under, happy to take his time. Now Blair runs into Ferreira. This time Cohen. Arzani looks forward, patient play. Ten minutes until the half-time break. City well in control.
Well, they'll just be a little disappointed they haven't got something more to show for their dominance. This Mariners team have made a habit, as we said, of soaking up pressure and then stealing one. Alilaval on the bench, who no doubt will see a little later. Poses a real threat in behind. Nyor, their top goal scorer. So, yeah, Vidmar will be not content with just a one-goal lead.
Early ball. The attempt into the box was anywhere but off the boot of Jacob Nasso. Just of Mariners have had the habit of conceding in the opening passage of each half. City's worst point for conceding is in the final passage just before the half-time break. So these next few minutes, the times that Melbourne City need to be aware, need to remain focused, taking the lead into the half-time break. Just 3 games remain after tonight's for each team to see out regular season football. First corner of the night for the Mariners. They've been pretty effective offset pieces across the course of the season. Central Coast, 5 goals from corners. So a big moment here. They can capitalise, find an equaliser. Ali Ogler, who standing by for a short corner, has been barely seen in this first half so far. Here he is, cross box. They'll get another go. Brantman to take. The delivery, nice shape. Good defensive header from Delbridge is cleared away effectively. Back into the mixer it goes. Bajic is up, as is Neuenhausen. Good goalkeeping.
Oh, that's great goalkeeping. Strong and assertive, came over the top, claimed, and just nullifies the moment.
Streaming forward is Aziz Bajic, continues his run. What a run from Aziz Bajic. Moragas had to be alert. Covered the length of the field there, Aziz Bajic.
Well, he's shown a couple of times tonight that he's still got his pace. Doesn't matter which way he's going, backwards or forwards, he can really move.
City's throw is Bajic. Nice touch from Ramani, back through Ferreira. Zani again, this combination coming to fruition. Atkinson, if he can make it work. Good cover across from Nathan Paul.
Well, they're just getting in behind an ease, aren't they, down this side? And it's almost the same script every time. Arzani on the ball, Atkinson around the outside and a little ball in behind. Nathan Paul was just able to get across in time, but too much space and time afforded.
Well, here they are again, time and time again. Atkinson, Arzani. Blair brought to ground, a little clip. Kuhn just catching the heel of Nathaniel Blair. Certainly something that Warren Moon and the Mariners are going to have to address at half-time.
Not very subtle.
So into the final 5 minutes of this first half. Redman's clearance is long and out. City can build again. lot of space in midfield. Kuhn, neat footwork. Settled through Atkinson. On the right is Arzani. Nice pass, pushed through the lines to find Rahmani. Atkinson again overlapping, gets through a mountain of work. Daniel Atkinson. Kuhn, that's a delightful ball. Rahmani, his delivery too. Well, from this right-hand side, City are having a lot of joy.
But they're having a field day. Not only is Arzani and Atkinson getting involved, all the others are starting to say, well, we'll come and join you.
Through their defence like butter. Andreas Kuhn, Rahmani across back to Arzani. Thought about the first time shot, winds up again. Here's Schreiber, clips it wide through Bajic. If he can settle the touch, he can. Bajic into the mixer, a little clip. Leaning back, Kavian Rahmani.
Well, he was just stretching, wasn't he? Wasn't able to guide it on goal, but again, it's just pressure. Good first touch from, as is Bajic there, and Rahmani is the first to react, but he's just stretching a little behind him, and as he falls away, he just gets under the ball, sends it into the stands. But as I said earlier, you see there the shots at goal. Leo Vidmar will be desperate for that second goal to give just a little bit of daylight.
It feels like it's on its way as well. Some really good team build-up from Melbourne City. Ferreira. His header away, and on occasion Rahmani a little too heavy-handed, gives the free kick. Possession is easily handed back to City though.
Now, Lucas Moragas said thanks very much for that. Two Melbourne City's right near him, Melbourne City players right near him, and he receives the ball with nowhere to go. It was just a little time when a couple of his teammates said, that's the time we needed to settle down, get everyone up, get a little bit further up the field and some bodies around the ball.
It's easily won again by Atkinson. Lovely vision to find Caputo. An option in the middle, maybe not enough, but Caputo's done really well. Enough Mariners shirts for now. Now Rahmani. Rashani wide will wheel out. Bajic, first time cross to the far post. Almost had Arzani's name on it. Still with City. Mariners just having to absorb wave after wave at the moment. Nice positioning by Schreiber. Arzani. You can see exactly where he was trying to put the delivery. Couldn't quite wrap the boot around it. Very few he's gotten wrong tonight.
Well, again, it's that early ball. He's given the space to have a look. He's not afraid to put it in early.
Big half-time chat coming up for Warren Moon. As the rain continues to sprinkle down at Amy Park. Atkinson's throw. City won't mind this. Just seeing out the clock to the half-time break. There won't be too much in the way of added time at the end of this one. Arthur De Lima almost stole the trick there from Delbridge.
You're too happy with that. Just giving the ball away, final minute in your own box. Delbridge talking to his teammates and saying, well, I need someone to show for me. I'm pretty sure Leo Vidmar at this stage would have said, well, if there's nothing on show, let's just get the ball into some safer areas.
Just the 1 minute of stoppage time, 30 seconds of that, which has already elapsed. Moragas needs a bit of support. Goes looking for it down the line through Brantman, who's fairly isolated. May well be the last kick of the first half at Amy Park. A little look at the watch from Daniel Elder. Mariners are going to put this right into the 18-yard box. Just hope for one last chance. Unchallenged it goes, and there is the half-time whistle. Andreas Kuhn, the difference maker as it stands. Second goal in as many games for the Austrian, but hasn't it been a lively first half by Daniel Arzani. Nathaniel Atkinson, a fairly open game in the first stanza with plenty to play for in the second. Half-time at Amy Park. It's Melbourne City 1, Central Coast Mariners 0. Well, don't go anywhere. The half-time show will be on the other side of this short break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hungry Jacks halftime show. I'm Jake Barkadace and joined, as always, by the great Archie Thompson. Archie, an interesting first half from Melbourne City. They got the chocolates with the goal towards the end of the first half, or in the middle of the first half, but it just felt like that game opened up and they really dominated.
Yeah, they did. It was a sloppy 10 minutes to start that match. really hard with the conditions. It's a little bit slick. You need to be precise with your passing. But I think we saw a little bit of the Melbourne City of old, the way that they were moving the ball. I thought that Kewen was really influential, and Alzani on the right-hand side was brilliant.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting first 15 minutes. Almost felt Central Coast were capitalising on some mistakes from Melbourne City, but it's very hard to stop Melbourne City on a slick field when they're bouncing the ball around, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I probably thought that first 10 minutes, Central Coast really were up in the faces of Melbourne City, didn't really let them play, and that was something that Warren Moon over here on the bench was saying, that as soon as the ball went back, put the pressure on them. And then for Central Coast, it just seemed as the half went on, they were giving sloppy possession away. He was really frustrated with that. But Melbourne City, yeah, they were really ticking.
Well, you mentioned his name, Andreas Kewen. Let's have a look at the Harvey Norman highlights here, because his goal was what broke the deadlock in the game. And he was brilliant, Archie. His influence, his creativity, he was the main difference, really.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the thing that Melbourne City were doing really well, is they were finding that space, especially with Kewen. It was unfortunate, I think it was Nathan that just slipped at the wrong... No, sorry, Nathan Paul just slipped at the wrong time, especially on Kewen's left foot. If anything, you don't want to be falling there. And you could see that he was slowly starting to look a little bit dangerous, especially in that 18-yard box. And that's a great finish. It took a little deflection. Unfortunately, just wrong-footed Redders, because that was going straight to him. But still, if you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to score.
And Redders came over to us and said, did deflections count? Because he did get a bit unlucky there, but you create your own luck. And Kewen's creativity was brilliant, Archie. The stats don't lie here if we have a look at it as well. The possession to Melbourne City, 65%. They've had a lot of the ball, but also in front of goal. As much shots as they've had, not a lot on target, and they really want to capitalise coming into the second half, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, for Central Coast, they're very fortunate they're still in it. I mean, Warren Moon will be in that half-time saying, look, we're 1-0 down. We need to improve. As soon as we get possession, we need to be a little bit better. But for Melbourne City, if they keep ticking like they are, I thought that Kewen, Rekmani, they came off the feet brilliantly. They found the passes to them, and then they bounced, and all of a sudden it was those little runs in behind. I thought that the combination out here with Nathaniel Atkinson and Azani, those neat little balls in behind just created so much. And then as a striker, you need to be alive in those moments. But I would think that they need to maybe get one more goal just to make it a little bit easier.
Well, we had great front row seats to the right-hand side here, and we speak of Arzani and Nathaniel Blair, but they really struggled, Moragas and Brantman, to stop them, and that creativity, that force of Arzani, it was coming to life in that first half, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I think early on, they were, like the guys in the commentary box were saying, they were passing a lot of crosses nice and early. I wonder if they saw something that on Central Coast was dealing with the early crosses, and as soon as the game sort of got back into the flow, that's when we started to see those neat little runs of Nathaniel Atkinson. We haven't seen that too often, I think, throughout this season. But that combination, I love the underlapping runs that Nathaniel makes, because he makes smart runs, and then you just need to pick his passes. The forwards need to find space in that 18-yard box.
They do have an extra day recovery on Central Coast. We know they've got a game on Friday. But if you are the coach, Aurelio Vidmar, going into half-time, what are you telling the City boys just to try and capitalise on their form with the ball to make sure that they're getting the scoreboard results?
Well, I think it just needs to be a little bit more of what they're doing. I mean, if they keep creating the opportunities like they are with the possession that they have, I mean, it's going to be a matter of time before they get that second one. And I'd be going, and Aurelio Vidmar would be saying, guys, look, we're creating enough. We just need one more to kill this match off.
Absolutely. Now, if we flip the other side, Central Coast, we know they've rested a lot of players tonight. Sabit-Yor, Ollie Laval, also with James Donachie as well. What do they have to do in the second half just to try and turn the screws here to get themselves back into the game?
Well, I think they need to be a little bit more clinical with possession, just in terms of trying to hold it. Every time they get the ball, they're quickly giving it up, and then all of a sudden they're back on the defensive again. And you could see Warren Moon was really frustrated with that. Just need to get hold of it, because this year they've been a little bit better in the last few weeks with possession and creating opportunities. They just need to believe. I wonder if they maybe rested their players, knowing that there's a massive game against Brisbane.
I think you're right on that as well.
On the Friday, whereas, okay, like if we lose this one, even though they're definitely they're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but They'll probably have an eye on that Friday game going, okay, let's rest our key players, see what we can get out of this one. But they definitely need to improve that second half.
And they do. They need to get that goal with Melbourne City, because you think of the names I just mentioned, Smith-Nor and Ollie Laval to come off the bench. The dynamic for them in the second half could increase. What are we expecting in the second half? Melbourne City to run away with this, or you think Central Coast will come back in?
Well, if they keep creating the opportunities like they have in this first half, and, you know, if they allow that space and time for Azani to pick out his passes, I think it could get a little bit ugly for Central Coast. But if they keep in the game like they have, we've seen it all this year, right? They might be a goal down, but they seem to find something. I think they've just got to keep believing.
Well, a lot to play for. Finals on the line. Make sure you stick around. That was the Hungry Jacks halftime show. We'll see you in the second half after the break.
Yes, welcome back to Amy Park for this round 17 fixture between Melbourne City and the Central Coast Mariners. Fair to say, City in the driver's seat, particularly as that first half wore on. Some good moments for Arzani, Atkinson, Ewenhausen, solid again at the back for the home team. City players re-entering the ground at Amy Park. A soggy evening in Melbourne, slippery conditions in that first 45. Saw both teams really struggle to keep their feet in some crucial moments. Andreas Kuhn, so far the difference maker. Somewhat in thanks to a small slip by the Mariners' defence, a slight deflection, nothing Andrew Redmayne could could have done about that one. That in the 22nd minute, the only goal of the game so far. Certainly feels as though there's more about this one. Andrew Redmayne, well, he has made the most number of saves of any goalkeeper across the A-League this season. And perhaps a little unsurprisingly so. He's been a busy man as a Mariner. No changes at the break. Neither coach turning to their bench just yet. I dare say we'll see some fresh legs shortly as the Mariners look to get us underway. There it is, kick-off at Amy Park. A narrow 1-goal lead in the favour of the home side that came in the 22nd minute. All to do in the second half for the Mariners. It's a favourable position City can put themselves in. But it would have been a stern half-time talk for the visiting team. Daniel McBreen, Warren Moon, undoubtedly looking to tighten things up in their defensive shape.
Well, without doubt, allowing too much time and space on the edge of the box, too many balls into the box.
Blair has a bit of time and space to get a shot away. Delbridge's header steers clear. Arzani retreating.
Well, I guess Warren Moon would have said it's only 1-0, which is probably a positive. They had that one opportunity with Arthur DeLima as Leo Vidmar comes out late, just finishing off his half-time snack. He's lucky nothing happened in the first minute. Otherwise, having a look at the replay. As I was saying, Warren Moon would take some solace in the fact that it's only 1-0. Came back last week. They had a good opportunity earlier in the match when Neuenhauser had to come out and save from Arthur DeLima. He's got a couple of substitutes on the bench that could come on and cause some damage. So there are some positives in a bleak first half. Leo Vidmar will want more of the same, but with a little bit more cut and thrust in that penalty box. He could quite easily think that should be 2 or 3 up at half-time.
Certainly felt that there were more goals in that first half. City came close on a couple of occasions, and as mentioned, as did Arthur DeLima for the Mariners. Now, Central Coast look to mount their own attack. Here's Harry Steele. In and out of the starting lineup this season. Harry Steele. Ali Orgler, who was fairly quiet in the first half.
Well, almost unseen, wasn't he? That could be said for the majority of the Mariners players in that front third. Most of their time camped in their back third.
Chris Donald's made a nice forward run. Now Brantman inside, a little ricochet. Blair has some time to think about it. Back through Nathaniel Blair. Half a moment to find DeLima. Almost loses the ball under his own foot in. Orgler, clever pass. If he can turn into a dangerous area, Blair has got to deal with Ferreira.
Well, it's almost as though it's this end of the field. The Mariners now finding space on the edge of the box, asking some questions of City's defence.
Nice turn by Steele. Argus wide and back inside through Steele. Nasso. His touch fades in. Caputo. Good defensive work, retreating. Looking for Rashani, but left the pass just a little skinny. In comes Orgler. Has some space. Orgler on his left, can't push it through for a shot now. The shot does come blocked. Jacob Nasso finding some better advanced positions.
Well, it's roles reversed, isn't it? easy giveaway. And then Orgler has been shining light for the Mariners. Again, you can see both sets of players just really struggling with the foot, trying to get their footing. Changing direction isn't easy.
Third corner of the night for the Mariners. Orgler goes short. Training ground move this. A nice little ball in from Orgler. Almost catches Neuenhausen unaware.
Yeah, he was trying to bend it to that back post area. Got too much on it. Plenty of Mariners shirts there. You see them all. All at the back post, just waiting for a ball, and Zani's away again.
A lovely, almost lovely centering ball. Again, just couldn't quite get the shape on the delivery, but end to end still, the second half has started. It's a nice pass to stretch the field for the Central Coast. Ragas, who hasn't quite been able to use his best strengths getting forward, finding deliveries into the box. That's from Ramani. Schreiber grapples for possession. Good physical battle with Orgler. Oh, that's a delightful ball through to Caputo. If he can find the finish, but he can't. Redmayne, strong as ever. And the offside flag is raised.
You'll need that. Caputo or Redmayne were to know that. It was a lovely ball in behind, just bent around the defence. This was the initial battle from Schreiber and Orgler. And then just have a look at this pass. You can see just leaning. As I said, Andrew Redmayne wasn't to know.
Lovely ball nonetheless. And that the danger of City at their very best. Neuenhausen, his pass is left a little shallow, across to Orgler now. And returns the pass in kind. Little clip into the box. Orgler might get another go. Weighs up the options. Ali Orgler will go himself. He scored a lovely free kick at the weekend. That one didn't quite get the technique right.
He scored one from a similar position earlier in the year as well, didn't he? But that one was under a little bit more pressure. Coming away from goal as well. He had 3 yellow shirts again at the back post who were just asking for that little dinking ball to attack.
Maybe a little surprisingly, and make what you will of XG, but Central Coast Mariners both outperform their XG for and against. Their expected goals for the season, 24.6, they've scored 31. Their XG against, 41 goals and have conceded just 34. City, conversely, expected goals 33, they've only scored 25, and their XG against for City, as we turn to the bench for a couple of changes, 27, scored 28. 3 changes come in for the Central Coast Mariners. Warren Moon, the first to turn to the bench. Nathaniel Blair making way for Ollie Laval. And what is Laval's 11th appearance for the campaign? Ali Brantman too, with a busy performance. Abbott Nyor, the leading goal scorer for the Mariners, also making his way onto the field of play. And a defensive change, should be largely like for like, in James Donachie making his way onto the field of play as well. Here's Kuhn. Really good idea. Steele is there to interrupt. Now Orgler. so long.
Well, I wonder if those subs were a little preordained. Feels like at half-time, Warren Moon may have given that age-old ultimatum of, I need to see something in the second half. Well, I think the Mariners are actually been better in this 9 or 10 minutes of the second half than they were for the whole of the first half. So maybe a little interesting to see that he's gone, no, well, I'm still making the changes, get the fresh legs on.
Azani pass one, can't get the return pass. Nonetheless, 3 sets of fresh legs for the Mariners. They have looked brighter coming into this second half. Question of if they can maintain that and be clinical in a moment they need to. So he's across to clear. Atkinson to Arzani, and that touch, a rare mistake. Pressure just pinching in at the back. Brad Tapp being pushed into his own line. City throw. Happy to concede a bit of territory all the way back through Neuenhausen. Ball has edged out over the line, and Mariners throw. Today marks the 44th time these two teams have faced each other. Of those previous 43, City have 17 wins. The Mariners have 15 wins and have played 11 draws. So a fairly even split across the history of this fixture.
It's remarkable how often you see how close these matchings are up throughout the A-League. So many matches in as we see a yellow card for Oli Laval and a challenge on Daniel Arzani. I don't think you can have any complaints. You see it's coming down on that left ankle of Arzani there.
It's just been substituted on Oli Laval into the book. First yellow card of the encounter this afternoon. Bayech down the line. Ramani searching inside. Almost good use of the body. Both players coming together. Caputo not too pleased about it. Tapp left a little worse for wear.
And certainly contact. Allowed to having none of it.
Rahmani again after Schreiber was left a little contact late after he got the pass away. That's worked out well for Bayech. He'll have a go himself. Ricochets off Redmayne. The time almost stood still there for a moment as Delbridge has climbed across the back of his player. Still the space stretched between the lines.
There's that strike from Aziz Bayech. Another little deflection as well. This time a little more kindly. Andrew Redmayne, it just opened up for Bayech. Just seemed to streak through. Defence opened up in front of him, and he just thought, how have I ended up here?
Searching over the top. Flag is raised for a free kick. That'll go the way of Oli Laval.
You can see what Redmayne Ferreira thinks of that. see holding the arm just maybe a fraction too long. It's almost a regular occurrence, that kind of challenge between big striker and defender. Maybe just as they were going down, held on for too much.
Well, live ladder as it stands, City, should this result hold, squeak into the top 6. Mariners still out in 9th, pushing MacArthur out of the 6. We'll keep an eye on that one. Now a chance maybe for the Mariners to find themselves on level terms. Orgler, good shape on the delivery. Bounces down once, still ducking. Cleared eventually, and Moragas wants to drive it back in. On his right boot, non-preferred Lucas Moragas. Kuhn now will unleash Arzani. Has space in front, but Mariners retreating. Bajic is forward if he can find him. Arzani drives in. Will look for the shot himself. Daniel Arzani. Well, in traffic, anything can happen.
Well, you see 5 Melbourne City shirts up to support Daniel Arzani. He elected to go himself across the edge of the box. Didn't quite catch it. There were a few frustrated looks from his teammates.
Still space opens up for City. That touch, a little paw from Schreiber. Well worked from Harry Steele. Now Orgler, who has come into the game a bit more in the second half. De Lima has Delbridge to beat. Arthur De Lima will go himself. Well-timed challenge. The 60-minute mark has ticked over. 30 minutes to play of regulation time. Again, that pass is left a little narrow. Arzani can swoop in. Good numbers forward for City. Kuhn in no hurry. Delbridge turns out through Ferreira. Pass is going to leave things a little short too. Forces Schreiber into a position to slow things down. Andreas Kuhn quick to apologise to his teammate.
Yeah, he knew as soon as it came off the boot, Mariners have taken it quickly.
That's a zipping ball across the face.
Well, he had to, Schreiber. He felt they were on the back foot. It's a poor pass from Andreas Kuhn. We don't say that very often.
Definition of taking one for the team.
Yeah, exactly right. James Donachie went in hard there. Not to lead with the arm for me. Let's have another look. He comes in strong over the top. See, okay, it's not a swinging arm, but it is an arm in the back of the head of Max Caputo. And Max Caputo, his arms went straight up. It just happened 30 seconds prior. He says, what about me? It's Arthur De Lima copping one to the back of the head on this occasion. Harris and Delbridge coming straight through the back. And I dare say, it wasn't much different to the other end.
Funny how it works that way sometimes. Orgler, the set-piece taker for the Mariners, ostensibly stands over this one. The left-footed dink. Maybe had a bit too much travel about it. Neuenhausen comfortably collects.
It's just the way he clipped it, wasn't it? It just seemed to just fade away from his teammates.
Ferreira finds Rahmani. That's a nice turn in the middle. Bit of space for Rahmani. Threads it to Bajic. That's a lovely ball across from Aziz Bajic. And the defending from Jacob Nasso was so necessary.
Well, nice touches and turn from Rahmani. And it's a wonderful ball here that allows Bajic to play it first time. 3 City players centrally. Nasso does well in defence.
City have a couple out for this corner. Arzani, short through Schreiber. Set piece here as Bajic can't quite get the lift that needed. Atkinson driving into space. And again, returning the run, might not have the legs, doesn't. A couple of changes incoming for City. Mehmeti and Andrew Naboot standing waiting in the wings. And Elbashan Rashani will be one of the players who exits, as will Max Caputo. So Caputo unable to add any further to his 8 goals for the season so far. Andrew Naboot, his 14th appearance this year for City. And Mehmeti has come on for the 17th time. A couple of attacking substitutes.
Well, I'm sure Aurelio Vidmar's hoping they can supply some of that killer punch at the top end.
Here comes Rahmani. Tries to slip it through, does awfully well to find Arzani. Looking to create the space. The introduction, well, that is just delightful. A first touch of the game for Andrew Naboot. And enjoying the celebrations, Aurelio Vidmar. That is a very important goal for Melbourne City.
Well, he's made a 50-yard, I won't say sprint, a jog down the sideline, Aurelio Vidmar, to join in the celebrations. We just said he would be asking for a bit more punch in that front third. Well, on the Harvey Norman replay, we'll see it in action here. Lovely little combination play through the midfield, just really tears the Mariners apart. And have a look at this precision pass there to Daniel Arzani. Mariners defenders get back in numbers and he just puts it on a platter. And Andrew Naboot says thank you very much, top bins. He was involved in the build-up. Rahmani made a nice run just moments earlier, and that was another defence-splitting pass. And look, you can see Naboot saying, just give it, just lay it to me. And he puts it right where the Spiders live, in the top corner. And it's no more than they've deserved. They have been a class above tonight. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? First touch after coming on.
A bit of feeling about that one. Andrew Naboot, the 2nd goal of the season. Also the assist deserved by Arzani, who has worked tirelessly tonight. The 2 combining for what was a very, very neat goal. The insurance they need, City, and maybe a little bit more to say about it as well. The game certainly opened up in the first half after Andreas Kuhn scored the first. City were able to play with a bit more freedom. And during that little change, we see the introduction for an A-League debut. Jesse Mantell, the 18-year-old, coming into the midfield for the Mariners. Central Coast Academy products on the big stage. Very big congratulations to Jesse Mantell. Big moment for a young player being introduced into the game.
Well, Warren Moon spoke to me after the Perth game and said that Jesse would likely get minutes this match. He would definitely be in the squad. He described him to me as a little bit like a certain Josh Nisbet, diminutive in stature, but very technically sound player. Has been a part of the young national team squads.
Quite the compliment being likened to Josh Nisbet, given his performances at the Central Coast Mariners. It certainly takes the pressure off. Melbourne City can perhaps play with a bit more freedom, and it was a lovely build-up as well. Neuenhausen pressured into a long kick. Donaghy's headed down, a little slip. Muir has found space between lines. Across is Atkinson, and that's well worked between Atkinson and Ferreira. Just look to handle those pressure situations so well. Arzani looks early. Nasso takes a little slip again and looks to be in a bit of discomfort. Orgler, eyes forward. Aiming for Muir, and he finds Atkinson. Arzani again. Well, Nasso's in a bit of trouble here, taking himself to the turf, and plays continued. Surely the referee is going to have to give a bit of attention to Jacob Nasso, who is not in a good way.
Very rarely do you see a player on the floor in their own box. Is it just a cramp? It looks like it, the way that Andrew Redmayne's stretching out that calf. Melbourne City under no obligation to stop the game.
Let's have a little look just as he lands back, the hyperextension perhaps off that left leg.
Yeah, there did seem to be a little there, yeah. I'm not sure if all the muscles tensed up in his body down that left-hand side.
Storm Roux finds himself on the bench tonight, which is a rare place for Storm Roux to find himself. 21 games he's played this season, Storm Roux, and of all of them, 21 he's started.
And this is the goal. Andrew Nabbout. First touch, Daniel Arzani confronted with a row of yellow shirts and says, well, here, Andrew, why don't you just tuck that one away and give us some breathing space.
The 10-capped Socceroo, Andrew Nabbout, still has moments of magic, and this is not good for Jacob Nasso, who's been really busy tonight for the Mariners.
Well, let's just hope that this is a cramp and not something more sinister. That does seem to look to have jarred the knee. Yeah, that doesn't look good.
So indeed it will be Storm Roux to replace Jacob Nasso. His first time on the bench this season. Storm Roux has a job to do, and Nasso, hopefully for him, nothing too serious, but definitely looked uncomfortable on that landing. Had a good performance tonight as well. The 19-year-old, just his second start for the Mariners this season. He can be proud of that. Arzani works a ball in. Not too far off either. Mehmeti rising above.
Well, the fact that he got up and won that, you got to say that maybe he should have done a bit better with that. I thought it was a deflection off the defender at first, but no complaints from Mehmeti at all.
Towering header from Delbridge. line for the Mariners. A little give and go, probably asking a bit much of De Lima.
Well, the fact that he's walking around suggests that it's nothing too major.
City next game at home on Sunday against Wellington Phoenix in a nice run of form at the moment. That will be a tough one. Phoenix keeping their finals hopes alive. As for the Mariners, they've got a big one on Friday night at home against Brisbane. This is the run home for City though. Home against Wellington, up at Brizzy against the Raw.
Well, when you look at the final two games for Warren Moon's Mariners, that is second top and top. So it's going to be difficult. Only 4 points separate.
Naboot will have a go, a deflection again, and Redmayne's aware.
Andrew Redmayne seemed to think that he thought he'd kept this in. It's tight. And VAR will get involved in them next year, won't they? Is it next year that they come in and they're involved with corners decision making, just to make everyone happy? They're going to be more involved. A little bit more stress on the referees in the VAR room as well.
Keeping everyone busy. Speaking of busy, Mariners defence with a job to do. Arzani running at them all night, twisting and turning. He's had a very good performance this evening, Daniel Arzani.
Well, he's played the match, and this is not in a disrespectful way, like it's a training session. He looks like he's really enjoyed himself. He's whipped the balls in when he's had the space to do so. He's combined with Nathaniel Atkinson and Andreas Kuhn. He looks to be really enjoying his football again. Had a good game last time out as well. Of course, those rumours that came out last week that he'd fallen out with some of the senior Melbourne City staff was quickly squashed by Aurelio Vidmar in his typical fashion, where he just joked it off and said, yeah, they can't stand each other. He said there's no base to those rumours whatsoever. If there is, it's not affecting his football at all.
Certainly not tonight. A busy first half. Cross to no one in particular for the Mariners. Bajic, full of running. If he can find Arzani at the switch, he is there. Instead, they'll work their way through. The final touch, not on the same page. You're suggesting it was all ball. Atkinson disagrees. City look to take a free kick quickly. Time starting to work against the Mariners. Kuhn. Still alive for City. Drops it on a platter as well. Redmayne again. Positioned well. The experience of Andrew Redmayne. Quick to dispel any City threats. Atkinson first to it in front of Newell. Good anticipation. Atkinson through to Naboot. Tries to get the return touch.
Well, he'd done so well to get there. He was off balance, tried to get a strike away. He's been very good tonight, Nathaniel Atkinson, hasn't he? Himself and Daniel Arzani combining down that right-hand side. They really had a field day, particularly in the first half. Maybe not as influential in the second, but they're in cruise mode at the moment.
First look at the young debutant, Jesse Mantell. Happy to get stuck in up against Rahmani. Another change incoming here for City. Ben Mazzeo. Daniel Arzani making way after a very good performance. And also, Ivan Durakovic will replace Zane Schreiber. For Mazzeo, his 10th of the season, and about 10 minutes to make an impact. Durakovic has been involved regularly, just a handful of minutes added up across the course of the season. This is his 19th appearance. Minutes to play. It's been a well-managed game by City, and they might have a little more to add to it. Nabu is cross blocked by Moragas. And tap indeed. Busy night tonight for Brad Tapp. He's had his hands full.
He's not on his own there in yellow shirts. They have been working hard to keep this City team at bay.
Durakovic, the in-swinger on the corner, a big fist from Andrew Redmayne, still with City. The second ball in, recycled, the header will just glance in at the far post. The header, Harrison Delbridge, not too far off.
He took up a good position at the back post. It was a difficult one, trying to really generate power and direction. It's going to take something to beat Redmayne from there. With three games to go, they do have a better goal difference than the three teams below them. And I just wonder if that's one thing on their mind as well, just to really open up that goal difference, try to get any advantage. Comes down to the final week.
Delbridge looking to stretch the field of play. Throw into City. Kuhn and Atkinson. They too have combined well across the game. Now Bajic, who is driven inside, takes a little slip.
Well, Jesse Mantell is it the same as I thought there. He slipped.
There's been a bit of that tonight. Atkinson still busy, will take the space. That pass doesn't meet the intended target. Ogler pings a ball wide to Nyon, nicely done. More City shirts than there are Mariners out wide. Across is Ferreira, who's barely put a foot wrong this evening.
He hasn't had too much to do, has he, Jermaine Ferreira? But when he has, it's been his usual self, strong, robust, reading the game, snuffing out anything. And there he is again, organising. Calm down. See this one out.
A fairly measured game at the back for the City defence tonight. Atkinson busy, Bajic busy, Ferreira and Delbridge up to task when asked of it. Not a huge amount to do across the course of the evening.
Well, you mentioned Atkinson and Bajic, even Delbridge. Most of their work's been going forward. Delbridge with a couple of headers inside the opposition box. The two fullbacks kicking forward, joining in the attacks.
Been a lively few minutes for the debutant, Jesse Mantell. Looks a good prospect, the young midfielder. Nice touch, Ferreira. Gets in wide and through him again. City really in no hurry. That pass won't help so much from Romani. Again, it's Ferreira, just composed.
And again, on the ball, telling his team to calm down, but 5 minutes to go. They don't want to concede a goal now. Then it really will be a nervous finish to the match.
De Lima pushes the ball to Orgler. Still Roux in an advanced position. Mantell. I like that from Jesse Mantell. Idea right, Orgler working hard to keep the ball in. Roux will get this in on the first time. The idea, well, innovative from Arthur De Lima. Short corner, quickly taken. Mantell and a ball pulled to the back post. The height of Donachie there, the target. Instead, the free kick goes the way of City.
Well, this is the kind of ball that his teammates would have been asking for earlier. And again, you see Donachie just coming over the back. The arm, again, it's not a swinging arm, but it's out in front. Not only to collect the City player, took out his teammate in Brad Tapp as well.
Again, it's Donachie up to challenge. Orgler helps on first time. Perhaps a little urgency starting to be shown by the Mariners, but feels just a moment too late. Mantell's gone heavily to ground. Here's Bajic. A little glancing touch from Naboo. Donachie. Mantell back to his feet. 3 minutes of regulation time remain, and then stoppage tacked on to the end of that. Tap. Aragas. Newell faces up against Atkinson. Atkinson's done very well. Turning defence into attack. Nathaniel Atkinson strides into space. Just slows things down. Not for the first time tonight, Nathaniel Atkinson continues his run. Plenty of Mariners players for company. Ramani. Given time as the boot's touch evades him. Donachie now, and releases Newell. Ball pushed through to Laval, who's done really well to stride into step. Just needs a bit of support, doesn't arrive. The tired legs of Arthur De Lima can't quite meet the cross. There is De Lima. Desperation from Naboo. Ramani now. City can break. Kuhn almost gets in the way of the run of Durakovic. Solid challenge from Aragas, and Kuhn in no rush. Slow into a walk, Melbourne City. Thompson again pushes the ball wide, and the boot gets on the end of it, blocked by Donachie. Paramount Plus player index tonight, Arzani, top of the pile. City through and through, 1 to 5, and perhaps a little unsurprisingly so.
No surprise in that. Top 4, pretty much exactly what I was thinking. The players of the match.
Another change for Aurelio Vidma's side. Kavian Ramani leaving the field of play. Harry Shillington will make his way onto the field for appearance number 11 of the season. And 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the 90. The in-swinger, City corner, defensive header, De Lima, the shot. Well, had a bit of promise about it off the boot.
It was certainly a lot better than his last. Got hold of it well, didn't he? He was clearly missing the target early because Andrew Redmayne didn't stress at all, but caught it well.
Well, he's not a regular goal scorer by any means, Nathaniel Atkinson. Hasn't had one for the season this year, just a single goal last year. Returning from an offside position. The City won't mind this one bit, just slowing things to a halt. There'll be 2 wins on the bounce for Melbourne City, making it 4 undefeated. Mariners continue a topsy-turvy time.
Well, for the Mariners, this will be just 1 win in their last 6. At the end of this match, obviously, if it remains this way, it's not the time that you want to be dropping points. Just their second loss in that time, but you can't afford to be dropping points towards the end of the season. Finals running. Conversely, Melbourne City starting to find those points with some regularity.
Certainly in the driver's seat tonight. We're just under a little under 2 minutes to play of stoppage. Doesn't look like the Mariners are going to find an answer tonight. This will do wonders for City's reintroduction into the top 6. Back in they go to finals conversations. Arthur De Lima might have a bit to say about that. Orgler likewise. Bayich to beat. Ali Orgler, almost good footwork, but the captain stands up in a big way for his team. Kuhn, sharp turn, pokes the ball through if he can make it work. But across to cover is Brad Tapp. Busy night for him. That's well defended. Time just ticking away. Inside the final minute at Amy Park. And maybe one last foray forward. Sabit Nyor finds a bit of space, centering ball, and the pass back into the back of the net for Ali Orgler. Well, it may be a consolation goal in the end, but they won't mind too much as he runs the ball back to the centre circle. Disappointing for Melbourne City.
Well, it is disappointing. I think we'll see. VAR will check that there on the Harvey Norman replay that it may have been an offside run. Molly Laval. It was nicely finished off, though, from Sabit Nyor. Good run in behind and then composure just to square for Orgler. And I think it'll all come down to that first run from Laval. May have gone a little too early.
for the season, if it is to stand. Indeed. Central Coast have their goal. Stoppage time has elapsed. Any extra time in the hands of referee Daniel Elder. Frustration from James Neuenhausen. City will not have their 10th clean sheet of the season.
Well, he's had nothing to do since the 9th minute, has he? Really. He had a good save early on from Arthur De Lima, and then it's been a really comfortable night for Melbourne City. Very disappointing for them, but probably just too late for Mariners. But it does flatter the Mariners, this scoreline.
Full-time whistle sounds. Last year's champions, one step closer to keeping finals prospects intact. They jump into the top 6 with 3 games to go. It was Andreas Kuhn in the first half for his 2nd goal in as many games. Andrew Naboot into the 2nd to find a bit of assurance for Melbourne City. And maybe a lapse of concentration at the very end saw Central Coast peg back one of their own, Ali Orgler, walking that ball into the back of the net. Nonetheless, City do get the job done, do get the 3 points, don't get the clean sheet on this occasion. Big night from Nathaniel Atkinson. But this round 17 fixture finishes full time at Amy Park. Melbourne City 2, Central Coast Mariners 1. Well, a fairly open game, but in the end, a dominant one by City.
Well, exactly right. First 10 minutes end to end, but then City really started to get a grip on the game. And they got their first through Andreas Kuhn. You felt that there were more coming. It was just when rather than if. And they got their 2nd from Andrew Naboot. It was a complete performance, really, until they gave that ball away with the last minute. Really, if they want to be ruthless going into the final series, that's where they need to kill off teams. They had great opportunities. Daniel Arzani and Nathaniel Atkinson down that right-hand side were particularly good in the first half. Andrew Naboot, first touch, catching up with James Donachie. He got himself on the score sheet. But they're starting to look good at the right end of the season, Melbourne City.
Coming into some good form at the pointy end. Plenty of players still to return